Your body doesn't believe your words. You can say I'm safe 1,000 times, but if your shoulders are tense, if your jaw is clenched, and your chest feels like it's holding back tears, your body has already voted no. Maybe you wake up and you try to say your affirmations, you try to meditate, you try to journal, you try to follow all of the soft girl rituals that you see on Pinterest, you see on TikTok, but deep down there is this low buzz of panic that you can't seem to shake off. You try to look calm on the outside, but on the inside, you feel like you are bracing for impact. You feel like your system feels in danger, feels unsafe to deeply relax in the present moment. It feels like if it does, something wrong is going to happen and then your system is not going to be ready for it. You feel like basically your nervous system is stuck in this constant earthquake and you just learned how to get used to living and smiling while the floor underneath you is shaking. If the floor underneath you is shaking, it doesn't matter how much you pretend that everything is alright. You try to look calm on the outside. What is really happening is that things are not okay and things are not safe for you. And this is a part that no one tells you. Safety isn't something that you speak into existence. It's something that you prove to your body again and again until your body registers this and accepts this as its reality, and therefore it can finally exhale and feel truly safe. And I know this because I thought that doing the work meant doing the vision boards, doing the journaling, doing the affirmations, doing the scripting. But you can't put glitter on something that is broken and say that it's fixed. If it's innately broken, you need to go into that wound. You need to go into what is actually making you feel unsafe and calm your nervous system in order to be able to accept any suggestions and any goals and dreams that you are requesting from it. I tried to do the journaling, the vision boards, the mindset shifts. But what really changed my life was the moment where I stopped trying to fix myself through thoughts. And instead, I started listening to what my body has been trying to tell me all along. So in this video, I'm not going to give you more affirmations for you to say when you're anxious, but I'm going to give you the tools that actually taught my body how to feel safe again. So your healing could go from being an idea, something that you pretend to have, to something that is real. So let's begin. Step number 1 is that you need to recognize the disconnect between what you are saying and what you are sensing. You can say all of the right things. You can say I'm safe, everything is working out for me, I trust the process. But if your nervous system is still holding in its breath, if your chest is still tight, your breath is shallow, your belly feels clenched, and you're constantly scanning your environment, or you're replaying conversations in your head, then no affirmation can or will stick. Because our body do not speak language. They speak sensation. They only understand what you are telling it through what you are feeling with it. It only understands and registers what you are feeling, not what you're saying to it. Because your body doesn't speak language, it speaks sensation. And the first step is to learn how to hear it. Because if you think about it, when you say to yourself, I am safe now, does your body actually soften? Most people don't even notice if this happens in their bodies because they have spent so many years disassociating from their bodies. And therefore, their entire sense of safety lives in thought and not in sensation. You have basically trained yourself to think positive even if your body still feels like it's getting ready for impact, even if your body still feels like it's in danger and has to be on alert in order to survive any danger. And that is not empowerment. That is just survival that is wrapped in a nice bow. It's not the real thing. And I know this because I lived there. I tried all of the self-help tools, all of the mindsets, all of the routines, all of the scripting, affirmations, vision boarding. But my body was still tense. It was still reactive, and it was still waking up feeling like it had already run a marathon before I even woke up, before I even got out of bed. And it wasn't because I was doing these things wrong. It was because I had never been taught how to actually feel safe in my own skin. And here's the hard truth that most people avoid. You can't think your way into safety. You have to feel your way into it. And that starts by checking in. Checking in not with your thoughts, but with your feelings, with your sensations, with your body. One of the most powerful questions I asked when I was going through this was, where in my body do I still feel like I need to protect myself? Is it the tightness in your jaw? Is it the pressure in your chest? Is it that pit in your stomach? Is it that buzzing from your hands? Is it that heaviness in your shoulders? Instead of continuing silencing what I felt with positivity, I decided to get curious about those feelings. I decided to try to go into them and feel into them to see what they were trying to tell me, because that is the voice of your survival self. And she's not wrong. She's just waiting to be heard by you. She's waiting to be acknowledged, to be seen, to be understood, and to not be ignored and pushed away. And when I did that, when I brought attention to those areas without any judgment, just noticing them, feeling into them, sitting with them, breathing into them, my body finally started to feel seen. It started to feel more like relaxed and more at ease, because it didn't have to fight anymore to warn me, because I finally stopped to listen to its warnings. And I sat with them and I said to him, I hear you. I understand that you feel this way and you feel like we're in threat. And that's all your body really needs. It wants you to hear it. And that's why sometimes these symptoms get louder and louder, and some people develop autoimmune diseases that can become very detrimental for their health, because they continue to ignore their body and what their body is telling them. So it goes from having heaviness on the chest to developing into a full-blown disease. And it's only when people are able to stop and sit with that warning, sit with that voice that is telling them that something is not right, and they give attention to their body and to what their body is telling them, that voice calms down. So when you do that, that's the first sign that your body receives as real safety. It's the first sign that it comprehends that, okay, I don't have to feel so much alert. This is the first sign of safety. It's not something loud. It's not something flashy. It's not a sudden breakthrough that you give to your body. It's all your body really needs. And from there, it doesn't need something loud. It doesn't need affirmations. It doesn't need vision boards. It doesn't need complicated things. It just needs you to be there to see it and to listen to it. And this is when your body can finally exhale and feel relaxed. You don't feel anything loud, anything flashy. You don't feel any big breakthrough coming from it. But what you feel is this simple, soft exhale where your body feels at ease. And from this quiet softening, your body starts to exhale, starts to feel safer, doesn't feel like it needs to brace itself anymore, and is accepting presence more and more. And from that point on, that's where we build. Step number 2 is to slow down enough to actually hear your body. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you slowed down on purpose? Not because you were exhausted and too tired, not because you were forcing your self-care time, but because you were actually connected enough to notice how fast you have been living and decided to change your rhythm. Most people are addicted to speed, and it's not their fault. Survival mode, one of the key things that it teaches you is that if you keep moving, if you keep running, then you will be able to stay ahead of danger. Survival mode was there to protect us when we were having to run away from danger, running away from a bear, running away from whatever could come and threaten our well-being. And so therefore our bodies and our mind is still wired to think that running away and moving faster and faster is what is keeping us alive, is what is keeping us safe and away from the danger. You think that this way you will avoid the fall, you will avoid the collapse, you will avoid the failure. But actually, you don't heal your nervous system by adding more things, but you heal your nervous system by allowing space. But what happens when your nervous system never gets to arrive? When your breath never reaches your belly? When your body is still locked into a pace and a rhythm that belongs to your past? Well, you end up burning out, you end up numbing yourself, and you become a stranger to your own softness. And worst of all is that you forget what it is like to just be, to just exist without having to run on a hamster wheel, to keep moving, to keep doing. We think that our nervous system is going to heal on speed, but actually it is the opposite. Our nervous system heals in slowness, it heals in stillness, when you just allow it to just be and just exist, when it is in softness, when it is in presence. But most of us, we are wired and addicted to rushing. And it's not your fault. Maybe you grew up around chaos, where stillness meant something bad was going to happen. Maybe you grew up feeling like not doing stuff meant that you were lazy. Maybe you grew up in an environment where not doing enough meant that you were not good enough, meant that you were lazy, meant that you were less than. So now you internalize that doing and doing and doing more is what makes you worthy. So not running around and doing things makes you feel exposed, makes you feel unsafe. So what did your brain learn from that? Keep busy, keep moving, and stay ahead of the danger. And even now, it may be you're even watching this while you're multitasking, while you're scrolling, while you're eating, while you're responding to messages. And that is because being fully with yourself can feel almost unbearable at first. And that doesn't mean that you're broken. It just simply means that your body doesn't know yet how to feel safe without running, forcing, pushing, and doing. But now I want you to be able to understand this. No one really told you that you can heal a nervous system that is always in motion. They actually told you the opposite. They told you to keep running, to keep doing, to keep rushing. They didn't tell you that you can listen to your body when you are sprinting past it. If your nervous system is used to living in urgency, rushing from task to task, from conversation to conversation, from emotion to emotion, that is not you being productive. That is your body trying to outrun a feeling that is not feeling safe enough to face. And I will tell you when this landed for me and when I truly realized this. I recently went through a season where I was pushing so hard. Every moment of my day was filled, and it was actually feeling like I didn't have enough time in the day to do everything. The day felt like it was 4 hours. So I would fill my day with things that I needed to do from my to-do list. So every moment of my day was filled. Well, that's work, workout, walking 10K steps, caffeine, phone calls, cooking, doing content, doing my breath work, doing my meditation, doing my journaling, doing my reading. And the list went on and on and on. And it felt like there wasn't enough time in the day to do everything. So I was trying to squeeze as much as possible, and I didn't feel productive either if I didn't do all of them in my day. And I was calling this my healing era, while it was doing actually the exact opposite. This healing, it was so hyperactive that it ended up pushing me into full survival mode. It ended up pushing me into full pressure, full controlling energy, full forcing energy that brought me back into this feeling of complete unsafety instead of safety and growth and thriving beyond survival. I will wake up every morning and I will just as soon as my consciousness was up, my mind started running, and I was like, my cortisol was spiking so high that I just felt guilty staying in bed, where I'm usually a person that needs some time to slowly like wake up to fully be awake. And I would just spike my cortisol, I will feel guilty, and I will start doing. And I still felt like I wasn't moving forward, but I was actually stuck in a loop. But it wasn't until I reached a point where I felt so burned out and so done with just doing all of these things without seeing any progress. And I realized that I felt so disconnected from what I was doing. Even like I used to journal, I used to read, and these activities will connect me so much with myself, make me feel so energized, give me so much energy. Instead now it just felt like a chore, and that's when I knew that I wasn't doing things right, because they didn't feel the way that they used to. I basically became like a mind dragging my body around. So I decided I had two options: to continue doing what I was doing, even though it will make me feel guilty to stop doing and moving and forcing, and to instead sit down with myself and journal and understand, why do I feel like I need to do all of this to feel like I'm being productive, to feel like I'm doing enough, to feel like I am safe. So when I started realizing that, and I started connecting more with my body and feeling like, you know what, I am actually safe right now, I started acknowledging what I was feeling. I was giving attention and focus to the signals that my body was trying to give me all along. I started to like get back into my body and less into my mind, because there has to be a balance, right? You can't be just in your body or just in your mind. You have to have a balance of these two things, because if one of them takes over, then something is missing, and you will feel it. There will be this unalignment that you will instantly start to feel it. So here's some things that you can try today that will help you anchor and come back into your body. You can take a walk without a destination. You can go and find some green area around you, whether it's a park, whether it's at the beach, whether it's somewhere that has grass, and just go and take your shoes off and sit on the grass, touch some grass, and allow yourself to feel and get connected back into your body. You can try to eat without your phone, or to even cook without your phone, without having to listen to things and watch things at the same time. One of the biggest things you can try is to try to wake up without going straight to your phone, and instead try to, when you wake up, become mindful of what are your thoughts, what is going on in your mind. Are your thoughts racing? And give yourself a moment of grace, of breathing, taking 3 deep breaths, relaxing, and making your body feel safe and making your body feel okay, reminding yourself and giving yourself that sensation that right now I'm safe and I don't need to run. You could just wake up and lay there and feel the sheets on your skin, and just try to acclimate yourself and your body to your environment first, and not your body. So start small, because slowing down might not feel safe at first. It might be feeling boring, it might be feeling scary, it might be feeling like you're wasting your time. But what you're actually doing is that you are showing to your body you are allowed to rest now, and you don't have to run anymore. And that is where real healing begins. Because when you slow down your body, your nervous system starts to feel something that has been craving for years. It starts to feel that I am not in danger anymore. I do not run, I do not rush, therefore that means I must be safe. And that means that I must not be in danger anymore. And only from that space, that pause, your intuition will come back online. Your intuition is gonna switch on again. So trust me when I tell you that the answers don't live in your overworked mind. They live in your presence. They live in your softness. They live in your stillness. And this is not to undermine the power of action. We only create results by the combination of action and letting go, by action and rest, by action and stillness, because these two are both required for you to move forward. If you want to build muscles, for example, you have to go to the gym, but it is equally important for you to rest, to sleep, and to restore in order for those muscles to grow. So the reason why I'm emphasizing stillness is because you are living in a state where you are in constant action and you are overemphasizing and prioritizing action. And therefore, I want you to shift your focus into stillness in order to bring this balance and in order for you to start creating your results, because you have put so much action already and now it's time for you to be still. But there's going to be a time again when you will need to start taking action again, and not from a frantic and unregulated state, but from a state of aligned action. Step number 3 is to reclaim your inner authority. The safety that you're looking for comes from self-trust and not from control. Most of the control that you think you need is actually just your nervous system begging to feel safe. It's trying to feel safe right now so much that it's trying to grasp control in any way. And in case you don't clearly see how control is, control looks like perfectionism. Control looks like over planning. Control looks like obsessing over what someone said or how you are perceived. It looks like constantly needing to take the next step or spiraling when things feel uncertain. We chase control because we think it will protect us. But deep down, what we're really craving is to trust ourselves enough to handle whatever comes our way. Because real safety, it doesn't come from certainty. It comes from self-trust. It only comes from true self-trust. And this is something that your nervous system is going to learn, not through ideas, not through inspiration, but through experience. So what I'm telling you now is for you to start experiencing this. Start giving your body the sensation what it is to be like, okay, you know what? I'm no longer going to control this. I am going to just trust myself, and give yourself the sensation of self-trust to handle that situation no matter how it turns out, to trust yourself that you will be protected and guided enough to come out of that situation in the best way possible. I think this is a state that all of us will go in and out of. Maybe we have it with certain themes in our lives. Maybe we have it when it comes to love. Maybe we have it when it comes to our career, when it comes to our family, but then we don't have it with other things. Or maybe you go through a phase in your life where you're in this state of wanting to control things, but then you go into a phase of your life where you completely surrender and you completely let go, and you're in the state of self-trust. And so I was in this state recently, even though I learned how to get out of that before and I learned my lesson, I didn't learn it when it came to that specific topic that I was working on. And so I was in that state of I couldn't sit with the unknown, to know what was going to happen next. I wanted to know. I needed guarantees, I needed signs, I needed external proof that my reality was happening in the way that I expected it to. Because if I didn't, I was going into a state of complete panic and unable to have enough faith and trust to believe that things are going to work out in the end in the best way possible. So I would spiral into overthinking, into forcing outcomes, into forcing my way, forcing my actions. And I thought that this way is going to bring me alignment. I thought that this way I'm going to be able to finally get in track. But the truth was I was just afraid to feel powerless again. But the irony is, every time I will try to control the outcome, I will end up further away from the thing that I wanted. It wasn't until it clicked for me and I realized, why am I needing to force these things so much? What will happen if I just let it go? What will it feel like if I just let life meet me where I am and not trying to meet life where I want it to be, without me trying to hold it hostage, without me trying to force things to be the way that I want them and expect them to be? And when I asked that question, I realized that all of this control wasn't giving me safety. All I wanted was this feeling of safety, and I was trying to get it through control. But control comes from a state of fear. Control comes from a state of distrust and lack of faith and security in yourself. And I realized that the only way to feel safe and secure is to give that to myself now, to give myself that trust and have faith that things are going to work out without me having to control the how. I realized that if I just continue in this loop of fear that never lets me rest, that never lets me receive, that never lets me to just be, then I will just end up being stuck in this loop forever. I will be stuck in this unfulfilling and draining loop of giving my energy but not actually receiving and getting closer to what I wanted. So what I did was to start choosing these tiny moments of surrender. Try to go before bed and just give all my burdens away to my subconscious, and trusting that my subconscious, that inner divine part of me, is going to be able to come up with a better solution than I do, than I will try to force things to be. And I just let it go. I learned how to surrender it. And there's so many ways that we do this. We're trying, for example, to script conversations in our head, and we try to force them to happen in a certain way, where the best thing we could do is to just show up, be present, and be in a place of listening and actually being in tune with the conversation, instead of trying to control it and control the narrative, control where it will go. We also obsess over the timeline, but we forget to remind ourselves that even if I don't know how this thing will work out, I trust myself that I will figure it out, because I didn't know how to do other things in the past, but the way ended up coming to me, the path ended up showing to me when I trusted it to be there, when I trusted it to be shown to me, when I had faith in myself and trust that things are going to work out. And this way, you don't just say an affirmation to yourself, oh, things are gonna work out for me, but inside you're feeling completely unsafe. You are completely rewiring your mind to see how things worked in the past, and you get this feeling of safety, that feeling, that sensation of, oh yeah, this worked in the past, I felt safe and I surrendered in the past and things worked out. So you train yourself to feel like that again, and to trust, to feel that feeling of trust that you felt in the past, and get into that again. And that is the beginning of embodied safety, because every time you move from survival to self-trust, every time you say, you know what, I've got me, you rewire your nervous system to believe, I am safe because I trust myself. Not because I control everything, not because I'm forcing everything, but because I trust myself to figure things out no matter how they turn out to be. So this is your reminder to let go of what others think. Letting go of the need to know the outcome before you even begin. Letting go of the idea that you need to be perfect in order for you to be safe. But instead, I want you to let your next step to come from alignment, not anxiety. That is what your nervous system is actually craving. Not control, not forcing, not pushing, no guarantees, but just this gentle reminder that no matter what happens, I will stay with me. I will figure things out because I've done that in the past, and I will do it again in the future. And that is precisely the root of everything that you're trying to manifest. Because once you're able to embody safety, to allow your nervous system to become fully secure, fully attuned to the body, you come then from a state of alignment. And all of the actions you're going to take from now on, they're not going to be forced actions, but they're going to be aligned actions. They're going to be inspired actions that are going to come from a sense of safety and love and self-trust and guidance, and not from a feeling of fear, needing to control and needing to force and needing to push things to come from a certain way because you are in fear and in a lack mindset. Any action that comes from this lack, fearful mindset is going to end up becoming and getting you into a loop of fear actions and fear driven actions and controlling actions that are just gonna keep you stuck in this loop that never pushes you forward to a timeline that you have your desired outcome. But when you shift into a state of safety, in a state of surrender, of trusting, you are then able to take inspired actions, inspired and aligned actions that put you into a loop of continual positive thoughts, positive emotions, and therefore positive actions that then keep creating a new reality for you and getting you closer to your desired outcome. So if you've been feeling anxious, disconnected, or stuck, or no matter how many affirmations you say, things don't seem to resonate for you and they don't seem to click for you, this is your reminder that you are not broken, you are not behind, there's nothing wrong with you, and you're definitely not lazy or ungrateful. You are just in survival mode. You are just in a state where your body feels completely unsafe and completely switched off from its full faculties and tools that it has the power to tap into to help it create that desired outcome that you're looking for. And the only way to allow those faculties to switch back on is to get yourself out of that survival mode. And to get yourself out of that survival mode, you need to bring your body back into safety. And not just say that you're safe, but to feel and embody that safety. Because your body doesn't shift out of survival mode through willpower, but it shifts through safety, it shifts through slowness and through presence. So this is what I want you to remember. You can't think your way into safety. You have to feel your way there. So start by listening where your body is still bracing, where your body is still holding back, where your body is still feeling tight and closed off, and simply listen without any judgment and without any need for you to fix. Just let it to be seen and give awareness and attention to it. Also, you need to remember to slow down. Let your pace match your breath, because when you finally stop rushing, you will start receiving. And finally, I want you to remember that safety isn't control, it's self-trust. And the more you trust yourself, the less you need to grip. And therefore, the more life flows to you and you don't need to force yourself through life. Life will flow through you. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this video helped you and served as your reminder to gently come back home to your body. And finally, allow your nervous system to feel safe enough to believe what your mind is saying. Meaning that your nervous system will never believe what you're saying, but it will believe what you are feeling. So if you start feeling safe, you're gonna start rewiring your body, being able to allow the suggestions that you are intentionally giving to it to become your reality, to be the way that you are now thinking. You are then going to be able, only through safety, you can program your nervous system to absorb the things that you're giving it. Because if you're going through it by forcing these affirmations, they will never be able to go on any deeper level, because you have a shield on, you have an armor that nothing can penetrate it. And as long as you're wearing that armor, anything that you're trying to change and anything that you try to convince yourself to think won't pass through that armor. So I don't want you to go and try to force things and try to push things through that armor. I don't want you to try to penetrate that armor. I want you to let that armor and let that guard calm down and make yourself feel safe enough to let that guard down, so you can live a life where you are at, first of all, at ease, at safety and self-trust, and you're able to listen to the suggestions that you're offering to yourself with more openness. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, I love you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.